has on Thursday announced receiving a fund of $13 million from Disaster Relief Emergency Fund, which will be used to support 500 households of the recent windstorm disaster. These funds, according to the Gambia Red Cross Society Secretary General Alassane Senghor, will be done by cash transfer to help the victims repair their houses. Amin Dow tells us more of that in this report.
The unfolding situation of the windstorm that took place on Wednesday night of 7th July has caused internal displacement and homelessness to many in the country. This has affected over 16,800 people in more than 100 communities across all the 7 regions in the Gambia. Immediately after the disaster, the Gambia Red Cross Society had deployed their teams to the affected areas and regions in distributing household items to the most vulnerable. Continuing to show their generosity to the affected citizens, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, Alassane Senghor, has on Thursday announced receiving a fund of $13 million to support 500 most vulnerable households in the country.
I'm glad today to announce that we have received this amount of money, which is over 200,000 Swiss francs. And of course, in reality, what goes out and would reach the community would be around $13 million that we will be using as cash transfer to 500 families, our 500 households. As I said earlier on, there are so far 1,847 households that have been assessed until now across the country. So we as Red Cross cannot do it all. We are complementing government's effort.
In giving out the funds, Mr. Senghor says the highest percentage will be given to the most affected regions.
So how we are going to be selecting this, we've developed a criteria. The regions that are most affected will have the highest percentage for sure. And then the second thing is that we look at what other partners are doing so that we don't duplicate. So currently, as we speak, we have our team sitting with other partners to basically look at that so that it doesn't have any duplication.
He further dilated on the launching of Gambia for Gambians campaign by the GRCS.
We have also launched Gambia for Gambians. Because you know, over $13 million is coming from outside. We believe that Gambians also should be able to come together to help themselves. And that was why a couple of days ago, or yesterday precisely, we launched the Gambia for Gambians.
Meanwhile, Senghor says that before receiving the fund from the disaster relief emergency, an estimated sum of 1.1 million had been used in delivering household items to the affected families. The windstorm surge, according to the National Meteorology Department, is the first time in recorded history that Gambia has experienced a scale of destruction caused to the lives and housing of communities. For iAfrica News, I am Amin Dow.
The Gambia Red Cross Society is set to donate to windstorm victims. Now, following a 12-month testing period, South Africa's first electric buses are ready to carry passengers in Cape Town after its launching on Monday. The move came when Golden Arrow embarked on a renewable energy journey in 2017 when it installed 2 solar plants, leading to the declaration of 2 of its facilities as carbon neutral in 2020. Details in this report.
Cape Town's 2 new electric buses are meant to assist the country reduce the carbon emissions from its public transport system. The fully electric vehicles were rolled out by public transport provider Golden Arrow Bus Services and have begun ferrying passengers. The company is utilizing the electric buses as part of a feasibility study, which aims to incorporate e-mobility into the business.
At the stage now where 2 of our depots are carbon neutral and we're exporting electricity back into the grid. So that kind of got us started on thinking, you know, what else can we do to make ourselves sustainable? And obviously electric buses are the vehicles of the future. And so when the opportunity came along to partner with BYD and Uyilo e-mobility program to create a feasibility study on electric buses, we absolutely jumped at the chance.
The buses were manufactured in China by BYD and are near silent on the road. For many passengers, that gives them a far more pleasurable commuting experience. The buses are currently being operated on a hop-on, hop-off route within the city, but plans are underway to expand their testing.
In South Africa, there's no data at all on electric buses. So we're very different from a European or Asian market. Our needs, obviously, we've got issues with our power supply in the form of Eskom. There's no tax incentives from government to use these kinds of vehicles. They cost twice as much as a normal internal combustion engine. So the aim with the feasibility study is to create a study that shows all of the issues that we could possibly encounter.
But for now, Cape Townians are jumping at the chance of experience what public transport could be like in a clean and greener future.
South Africa's first electric buses started carrying passengers. Now, 40 officers of the Gambia Police Force have graduated on Thursday at the Police Intervention Unit ground in Kanifing, following a 3-week intensive training on public order management by the German Police Support Team in the Gambia. The new team, called the Special Intervention Unit, is the first of its kind in the history of the Gambia Police Force. Binta Jallow was on the graduation ceremony and she now reports.
The COVID-19 pandemic, the German government continues supporting the Gambian police force. With December 4th presidential election fast approaching, a unit comprising of 40 individuals were trained on public order management. The Special Intervention Unit is a new implementation platoon at the Police Intervention Unit, and these officers are brought together to manage violent protests and riots and also arrest violent protesters under the confinement of the human rights law. The SIU training covered the areas of basic formation on tactical hand signs, movement of team as a single unit or part of a platoon, self-defense, batting techniques, arrest and handcuff skills, usage of different tactics depending on the behavior of the crowd, usage of personal protection equipment, among other valuable tactics. The lead trainer, Stefan Hartz, said the German police support team in the Gambia will equip these officers to ensure they execute their job efficiently and effectively.
We will hand over, like spoken, as soon as possible 50 better protected body systems, new helmets, and some more equipment which is also used in Germany to avoid to get hurt in this special task. On top, a 40-feet shipment container full with equipment like 700 helmets, about 200 new pairs of boots, buttons, and among others is almost ready to be shipped to the Gambia.
In delivering her keynote address, the German Charge d'Affaires of the German Embassy in the Gambia said the initiative is timely.
This is the first course of its kind here in the Gambia, and it marks the establishment of the Special Intervention Unit here in the Gambia. And I think this is a very, very important step, also looking at the upcoming elections. We all want these elections to be peaceful, and we also want the freedom of demonstrations, the freedom of speech to be possible here in the Gambia. And I think well-trained police officers can help ensure this.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mamadou Sow, outlined the intentions that they have for the unit.
We intend to provide you 2 AMRA level 9 troop carrying vehicles, state-of-the-art, most sophisticated vehicle carrier to ensure that the operations on both land, you will have superiority of both land and air superiority. We will provide you also an aerial vehicle, a 17-hour flying unmanned aerial vehicles equipped with the state-of-the-art latest technology. Infrared 90 degrees angle cameras that are telepathic will read heat signatures, facial recognitions, day and night, to ensure that you are on your task as far as the police is concerned.
One of the participants said the training helped them immensely in the level of their profession.
Since the beginning of this magnificent training undertaken by the German police support team, our level of professionalism has increased, especially in the areas of POM, as public order management, such as the basic formation on tactical hand signs, movement of teams in single, double column, and platoon formation.
The German police support team in the Gambia reaffirmed its commitment to support the Gambia police force. The course that took 6 weeks to complete in Germany was conducted by the Special Intervention Unit in the Gambia within 3 weeks. The participants demonstrated some of the skills that were taught during the 3 weeks course. The officers were also awarded with certificates of completion. For iAfrica News, Binte Jallo.
The German police support team in the Gambia trained 40 PIU officers on public order management ahead of the December 4th presidential elections. Now, doctors in government hospitals in the Democratic Republic of Congo have embarked on a sit-down strike to ask for salary increment and better working conditions. The strike came when the country is experiencing its third wave of the coronavirus global pandemic. We have details of that in this report.
Mohammed Ibrahim's yam trade is gradually thinning out. This has been the most difficult time for the business in the 34 years that he's been running it. The 55-year-old gets his produce from farms in the northern states and sells them in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. But supply from farmers has been reducing.
When we went to the market before to buy yams, we saw a lot from farmers in the market. We could buy them at an affordable rate from the farmers, so we could resell to our customers at a lower price as well. Because of that, our goods were selling fast. But now yams are very expensive, because farmers are not producing as much, and when we buy, our customers can't afford them.
Nigeria is facing its worst food insecurity since 2017. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization says 12.8 million people across 16 northern states of the nation and the federal capital make up the food insecure population. But that's only a fraction of the larger population yet to be reviewed.
Represent a little bit above 50% of the total population in Nigeria. So if we are able to roll it out to the other 20 states, of course, it could be higher, based on the evidence that would be collected from the additional 20 states.
Protracted armed conflicts, banditry, kidnappings, and insurgency have continued to worsen the food insecurity, keeping farmers away from their farms. The situation has been compounded by the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The northeastern states of Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe are the worst hit, accounting for a third of the hungry population.
Importantly, there would therefore be need for, let's say, actionable planning and policy formulation to address the drivers of acute food and nutrition insecurity. I think there would be the need of government and humanitarian agencies to intensify and sustain life-saving support and livelihood support to affected populations, particularly those that are in phase 3 and phase 4 of the analysis.
Food security indicators like changes in consumption and the scale of the hunger problem were used in the FAO analysis. It's not clear how much longer it would take authorities to bring the problem of insecurity under control so that many can return to their farms. But in the meantime, those affected will continue relying on humanitarian support just to get by.
We will now take a short break. Still to come, it's more local and international news. So stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators, of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the news text coming to you live on iAfrica TV, and I am Julden Suare. Now to the rest of our stories. The operation to restore sanity by National Guards of the Gambia Armed Forces has on Thursday briefed the media on its patrol activities since operation was launched a month ago. The event was held at the Guards Battalion in Fajara Barracks. During their operations, 12 cases have been reported to different police stations, ranging from stealing, armed robbery, bribery, among other related crimes. Details in this report.
Few months ago, the country was grappling with many crimes and criminal activities ranging from murder and armed robbery to rape and other dubious acts. In that regard, the Gambia National Guard launched an operation called Restore Sanity to complement the efforts of the Gambia Police Force's Operation Zero Crime Initiative, all geared towards reducing the criminal activities in the country. The Operation Restore Sanity clocks 1 month since it was launched in June. Lieutenant Colonel Ahmad B. Bojang, the Operation Restore Sanity Task Force commander, explains some of the activities and types of arrests conducted during their patrols.
We've also reacted to a series of incidences ranging from attempted robbery, public nuisance, and stealing. All those incidents, we've reacted to 23 of those. Late night calls, our patrol teams will react to those incidences. And so far, so good. The number of arrests, the stealing cases, who were later handed over to the police are 3. The public disorder, nuisance, for instance, fighting, 4 cases that we have handed over to the police. Drug-related matters, those who have direct connection to the issues that we have, because it's evidence-based. So those who are directly related to the drug-related matters are 3 who we have handed over to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And of course, illegal trafficking of timber, 1, and of course, attempted bribery, 1.
Lieutenant Colonel Bojang also explains the mode of operations of the task force, which affects some of the arrests conducted.
The mission on task force was assigned of the task force includes to conduct patrols within Banjul Municipality, Kanifi Municipality, and the West Coast region as part of the first phase of the operation. We'll also establish vehicle checkpoints to search people and persons of interest. We are also to defend hotspot areas that are known to us and reported by the civil authorities. We should also liaise with the Gambian National Army and the Gambian Navy for possible arrest of offenders. We are to liaise with the commander of Operation Zero Crime for coordination.
The first phase of the Operation Restore Sanity Task Force has conducted 23 arrests, ranging from drug trafficking and armed robbery to stealing and creating public disorder, among other criminal activities. As the operation is geared towards restoring peace and order for 3 months on the first phase, the task force commander says the prolonged operation depends on either the increase or decrease of crime rates in the country. The task force is also calling for the cooperation of the public to report any dubious acts that threatens the peace of the country, saying it will further make their work easier. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
12 cases have been reported during the Operation Restore Sanity of the Gambia Armed Forces Patrol Team. Now, more than 10 million Nigerians are facing severe food insecurity, according to a new United Nations Food Agency report. Local farmers have been struggling to access their farms due to widespread violence, thereby worsening the food insecurity in the West African state. The impact of the coronavirus global pandemic has further deteriorated the situation, leaving many wondering how soon the problem could be resolved. Details in this report.
Mohammed Ibrahim's yam trade is gradually thinning out. This has been the most difficult time for the business in the 34 years that he's been running it. The 55-year-old gets his produce from farms in the northern states and sells them in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. But supply from farmers has been reducing.
When we went to the market before to buy yams, we saw a lot from farmers in the market. We could buy them at an affordable rate from the farmers, so we could resell to our customers at a lower price as well. Because of that, our goods were selling fast. But now yams are very expensive because farmers are not producing as much, and when we buy, our customers can't afford them.
Nigeria is facing its worst food insecurity since 2017. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization says 12.8 million people across 16 northern states of the nation and the federal capital make up the food insecure population. But that's only a fraction of the larger population yet to be reviewed.
Represent a little bit above 50% of the total population in Nigeria. So if we are able to roll it out to the other 20 states, of course, it could be higher, based on the evidence that would be collected from the additional 20 states.
Protracted armed conflicts, banditry, kidnappings, and insurgency have continued to worsen the food insecurity, keeping farmers away from their farms. The situation has been compounded by the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The northeastern states of Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe are the worst hit, accounting for a third of the hungry population.
Importantly, there would therefore be need for, let's say, actionable planning and policy formulation to address the drivers of acute food and nutrition insecurity. I think there would be the need of government and humanitarian agencies to intensify and sustain life-saving support and livelihood support to affected populations, particularly those that are in phase 3 and phase 4 of the analysis.
Food security indicators like changes in consumption and the scale of the hunger problem were used in the FAO analysis. It's not clear how much longer it would take authorities to bring the problem of insecurity under control so that many can return to their farms. But in the meantime, those affected will continue relying on humanitarian support just to get by.
More than 10 million Nigerians are currently facing severe food insecurity. Now, the report from Nigeria will bring us to the end of the news text. But for more of these and others, you can join us in our subsequent news bulletins. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company, and do have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.